Hey everyone, welcome back to another deep dive with the Moore's Global Finance Podcast team. I'm John, and as always, I'm joined by Tiffany. We're diving into something that's been on your mind lately, precious metals investing. And you've been particularly curious about a company called Beverly Hills Precious Metals. We've got some information on them, and we're here to help you sift through it.
Yeah, precious metals can be a great way to diversify a portfolio, but picking the right place to invest is really important. So let's have a closer look and see if Beverly Hills Precious Metals lives up to all the hype.
So who are these guys? Founded in 2010 by Andrew Sorchini, who has been in the precious metals world for over 30 years. So right away, we can see that experience isn't going to be an issue. And they offer a pretty wide range of products, everything from your typical gold bars and coins, both U.S. and foreign, to silver coins, silver bullion, platinum, and even palladium.
And they don't just stop there. They've also got something called junk silver, which is essentially pre-1965 U.S. silver coins. This is a pretty interesting option because its value is tied almost exclusively to its silver content, which can be a much more budget-friendly way to get into silver.
Interesting. So it's kind of like buying silver at its melt value without having to pay extra for the numismatic value.
Exactly. And for those looking to add precious metals to their retirement planning, they've also got options to set up precious metal IRAs.
So they've got a lot going on. But here's where things get really interesting. They have some pretty big names endorsing them. People like General Michael Flynn, Lara Trump, entrepreneur Clay Clark, attorney Tom Renz, even the Moms on a Mission movement. There's also Mel K and Kash Patel. So what does all that tell us about their target audience and overall strategy?
Well, it seems pretty clear that they're going for a freedom and patriotism image, aligning themselves with a particular segment on the political spectrum, which could be a pretty savvy marketing move appealing to a specific demographic. But it also raises the question, does this resonate with you? Or does it raise any red flags?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It really comes down to whether you feel their messaging aligns with your own personal investment philosophy. So what about the nuts and bolts of their service? What are the pros and cons to consider here? On the plus side, they seem to have a good reputation for personalized service. They try to make it easy to get started, offer a variety of different payment options, secure storage for your metals, and they have a solid track record when it comes to buybacks. Plus, no major scandals, which is always a good sign in this industry.
Absolutely. However, there are a couple of things to consider. First, they aren't accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Now, that doesn't automatically mean they're shady or anything, but it does kind of suggest a lack of external oversight. And second, and maybe more importantly, there's a lack of transparency when it comes to their fees. Plus, they only accept bank checks from within the U.S., which might be a deal breaker for some international investors.
So you're saying transparency and fees are key here. And it's important to ask the right questions before making any commitments. What kind of questions should investors be asking?
You're right, those are definitely red flags when you're considering any investment. And especially with precious metals, you always want to know what you're paying for before you commit. You really want to ask about their fee structure, storage costs, and any other potential expenses. Don't be afraid to dig deep. After all, it's your money on the line.
Right on. Now let's talk about what people are saying online. Of course, their own website is full of glowing testimonials. But their Better Business Bureau rating is only 3 out of 5 stars based on 5 reviews. Google. My business reviews are a little bit better at 3.5 stars. But that's only from 22 reviewers. So not terrible, but not exactly stellar either.
Online reviews can definitely be helpful, but they should never be your only source of information. Remember, people are way more likely to leave a review if they've had a negative experience.
That's a great point. So how do we go beyond online reviews and really do our due diligence?
Well, first, I would check their track record with regulatory agencies. Look for any complaints or disciplinary actions. You can also do some digging into their financial stability. If they're publicly traded, how are their financials looking? You can find this info through resources like the SEC's EDGAR database. And finally, I'd seek out independent reviews and analyses from reputable sources. Don't just take their word for it. See what other people are saying.
That's a really good point about looking beyond the surface. So it seems like Beverly Hills Precious Metals has some positives, but also some areas that warrant a closer look. Now let's dive a little deeper into their product offerings. They have a pretty extensive menu of gold and silver options, starting with the classic gold bars.
Gold bars are a great way to get direct exposure to gold. They're a tangible asset, easy to understand, and they come in various sizes to fit different budgets.
And of course, they've got gold coins, both U.S. and foreign. They highlight the classics, like the American Eagle and Buffalo, which are backed by the U.S. government for their weight and purity.
Those are definitely popular choices, especially for people who are new to precious metals. The American Eagle in particular is recognized and traded globally. But for those looking for a little bit more variety or historical significance, they also offer foreign gold coins, like the Canadian maple leaf, which is known for its purity. And they even have some historic European coins, which some investors find appealing because of their numismatic value, adding kind of a collectible aspect to their investment.
Yeah, those historical coins sound really cool, like a tangible link to the past. But let's move on to silver. They have a whole section dedicated to silver, from coins to bullion, and even that junk silver we talked about earlier.
Right. And I think it's worth highlighting why jump silver can be so attractive. Remember, these are pre-1965 U.S. silver coins. Their value is tied primarily to their silver content, and they often trade at a much lower premium compared to bullion coins. This makes them a really appealing choice for investors who want exposure to silver, but don't want to pay a big premium for collectible value.
It's like getting more silver for your buck.
Exactly. They also offer a variety of other silver coins, including the American Silver Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, and Australian Kangaroo. And for those looking for something a little more unique, they have options like the Saving Grace Cyrus coin and the Lion of Judah coin. It seems like they're catering to a variety of interests and investment goals.
And don't forget platinum and palladium. They've got those on the menu as well.
Yes, those are becoming more and more popular. As investors realize the importance of diversifying beyond just gold and silver, platinum and palladium have industrial uses in addition to their investment value. For example, platinum is used in catalytic converters for vehicles. While palladium is crucial in electronics manufacturing, this industrial demand can really impact their prices, making them potentially more volatile, but also offering more potential for growth.
That's fascinating. I hadn't even considered the industrial uses of those metals.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got a broad range of products. But what about those IRAs we mentioned? How do those work?
They offer what's called a self-directed IRA, which lets you hold physical precious metals within a tax-advantaged retirement account. This can be a really great way to diversify your retirement savings. Beyond just traditional stocks and bonds, imagine having a portion of your IRA allocated to gold or silver, potentially offering a hedge against inflation or market volatility.
So it's like adding a layer of security to your retirement plan. But you mentioned earlier that there are rules and regulations surrounding self-directed IRAs.
Right. Self-directed IRAs have their own set of rules, and they might not be suitable for every investor. For example, there are specific storage requirements for the metals you hold within the IRA. It's really important to consult with a qualified financial advisor to see if a precious metals IRA aligns with your circumstances and risk tolerance.
That's a great point about seeking expert advice. Now let's circle back to those endorsements for a moment. They really seem to be a key part of their marketing strategy, featuring figures like General Michael Flynn, Lara Trump, and Clay Clark very prominently on their website. So what are the potential benefits and drawbacks of this approach?
Well, the benefits are pretty clear. By aligning themselves with these figures, they are very clearly targeting a specific audience that resonates with their message of freedom and patriotism. And this could potentially attract a very loyal customer base. However, this targeted approach can also be a double-edged sword.
How so?
Well, by focusing so heavily on one segment of the population, they risk alienating potential customers who don't share those views. This could limit their market reach and impact their long-term growth.
That's a really insightful point. About the potential limitations of such a targeted strategy. It's like they're putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Exactly. And as we've emphasized throughout this deep dive, diversification is key in investing. It's really important to consider whether their marketing aligns with your values and if their target audience matches your own investment profile. Now, there's something else I found interesting on their website, a resource center that focuses on central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs.
CBDCs. That seems a bit out of left field for a company specializing in precious metals, wouldn't you say?
It does, doesn't it? They've got all this information on CBDCs, including news podcasts and even a section called In the News. It seems like they're trying to position themselves as more than just a precious metals dealer, but as a source of information on a wider range of financial topics, including the evolving landscape of digital currencies.
So are they trying to capitalize on the growing interest in digital currencies? Or perhaps hedging their bets in case digital currencies take center stage? I mean, what happens to the value of precious metals if digital currencies become the dominant form of money?
That's a really complex question that a lot of investors are grappling with. It's hard to predict how digital currencies will impact the precious metals market in the long run. Some analysts believe that more people adopting digital currencies could lead to less demand for physical gold and silver, while others argue that precious metals will always have that intrinsic value as a tangible asset and a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty, regardless of the rise of digital currencies.
It's definitely a fascinating dynamic to watch unfold. Perhaps this warrants its own deep dive in the future. But for now, let's bring our focus back to Beverly Hills Precious Metals and take a closer look at their customer reviews and ratings.
Good idea. As we mentioned earlier, their Better Business Bureau rating is a bit concerning at only 3 out of 5 stars. And the fact that they're not BBB accredited does raise questions about their commitment to meeting industry standards for ethical business practices.
Yeah, their Google My Business reviews are slightly better at 3.5 stars. But it's still a mixed bag. What patterns are you seeing in the customer feedback?
Well, there's certainly some positive reviews that highlight their customer service and expertise. However, there are also recurring complaints about a lack of transparency, particularly regarding fees, as well as some issues with pricing and delivery. This mixed bag of feedback just underscores the importance of doing your own research and not relying solely on online reviews.
So we're seeing a pattern of both positive and negative experiences, which is pretty common for any company. It just highlights the importance of carefully considering all aspects of a company before making a decision. Well, we're nearing the end of our deep dive into Beverly Hills Precious Metals, and I'm curious to hear your final thoughts. Based on what we've uncovered, would you recommend them?
Well, it's not a simple yes or no answer. They do seem like a legitimate company with some appealing features, like their personalized approach and the variety of products they offer. But those concerns about transparency, especially regarding their fee structure and the limited payment options, those do give me pause. Ultimately, the decision is up to each individual investor.
Right, we're just providing information to empower you to make the best decision for your own unique situation. And speaking of options, it's important to remember that Beverly Hills Precious Metals isn't the only game in town. There are plenty of other reputable companies out there specializing in precious metals. What are some alternatives investors might want to explore?
Absolutely. It's always a good idea to shop around and compare different companies before you commit to one. Some well-established players in the precious metals market that you might want to research include Goldco, Augusta Precious Metals, American Hartford Birch Gold Group, and Noble Gold Investments.
Those are some big names in the industry. What sets those companies apart from Beverly Hills Precious Metals?
Well, each company has its own strengths. For example, Goldco is known for its exceptional customer service and educational resources, which can be really helpful for anyone new to precious metals investing. Augusta Precious Metals, on the other hand, really emphasizes transparency and competitive pricing.
So it really comes down to figuring out what matters most to you as an investor, whether it's low fees, excellent customer support, or something else entirely.
That's right. And as you're evaluating different companies, there are a few key factors to keep in mind. First, look closely at their fees and pricing structure. Are they upfront about their costs? Do they offer competitive rates? Second, research their storage options. Do they provide secure, insured storage facilities? What are the costs associated with that? And third, examine their buyback policy. How easy is it to sell your metals back to them? Do they offer a fair buyback price?
So you want to think about the entire process, from the initial purchase to storage and even potential resale down the line.
Exactly. And one more thing, don't underestimate the importance of customer service. Do they have a responsive and knowledgeable team who can answer your questions and address any concerns you might have? Investing in precious metals can be a bit complex, so having a supportive team to guide you through it can be really valuable.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We explored the ins and outs of Beverly Hills Precious Metals, looked at some alternative options, and highlighted some key factors to consider when making your decision. As we wrap up, what's the most important piece of advice you would give to our listeners as they navigate the world of precious metals investing?
The key takeaway here is this. Investing in precious metals can be a smart way to diversify your portfolio and potentially protect your wealth against inflation or market volatility. However, it's crucial to approach this market thoughtfully and strategically. Do your research, choose a reputable company that aligns with your needs and investment goals. And never be afraid to ask questions. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to investing.
Wise words to live by. This deep dive is just a starting point. There's a whole universe of information out there waiting to be explored. So keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep investing in your financial future.
And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. With the rise of digital currencies and the constant evolution of the global financial system, what does the future hold for precious metals? Will they maintain their allure as a safe haven asset, Or will they become relics of the past? Only time will tell.
That's a great question to contemplate. It's going to be a fascinating journey to watch unfold. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for another adventure into the world of finance.